Well, I think this is something that I want to talk about for a very long time. Being a person who's got a history degree, being a person who's read Romanian history extensively, I believe that, and many historians agree, that Romania's involvement with the Nazis was a big, colossal mistake. And it could have been avoided. Um, a young Antonescu who held main power in Romania. King Michael was just a puppet and treated like a child. He had no power whatsoever. All power lay in the hands of pro-Nazi young Antonescu, who was a well-known anti-Bolshevik and anti-Semite. He hated Jews, he hated the Bolsheviks, and obviously the looming Russian campaign was a major attraction for him. Romania in 1940 was a huge country, and it had doubled in size in the First World War. Romania's fighting the First World War on the Allied side was justified. Why? Because obviously it doubled its territory in size and got all the Romanians into one state. However, the justification for fighting in the Second World War was not really justified, really. And obviously, there's no chance that Romania could have beaten the Soviet Union when it made its ultimatum in June 1940 to actually recover the lands that the Romanians had actually liberated in 1918. Of course, the Nazis backed Hungarians and Bulgarians for territory, but as Romania was surrounded by powerful neighbours, like Poland, Romania was squeezed in the middle between two tyrannical dictators. Another important factor for Romania was oil. Oil held the power of the war machine. Still does today. It powers the tanks. It powers the submarines. It powers the vehicles and transportation for your armies to move. And that's why, obviously, as in the First World War, Germany was very interested in the Romanian oil fields. And when the Soviet Union decided to grab a bit more Romanian territory, he was alarmed, but did nothing, because he was preparing for his Operation Barbarossa. I believe that the Romanian people, deep down, did not really support the war, but it was under the dictatorship of young Antonescu. And beginning, the Romanians did support the liberation of Bessarabia and northern Bukovina. But when the Romanian armed forces went across the east into Russia proper, into the Ukraine, support for the war buckled and waned. And as the Romanians got deeper into Russia, the war became more, and it became more harder for the Romanian people as well. At Stalingrad, the Romanian armies were destroyed, and obviously Romania contributed the second most powerful force behind Germany in the Russian campaign. So obviously, looking from the Russian perspective, you understand why there would be such anger against Romania from like the Soviet Union, because Romania supplied the second biggest amount of men, second biggest amount of material. So you understand why on the Russian side, looking at Romania, why there was so much anger and hatred towards the Romanians was because Romania had supplied the second biggest amount of men, materials and supplies. Hitler didn't give a damn about Romania. Hitler was using Romania for the oil, the grain, and using its men as fodder, basically. I certainly believe that obviously Romania could have remained neutral until August 1944, Why? Well, if you look at Sweden, Sweden was neutral during the Second World War. Why Hitler could have invaded, anyone could say, Hitler could have smashed Sweden and got the iron ore for himself without a worry. But he allowed Sweden to remain neutral as long as it supplied the iron ore that he needed for his war machine. I believe that Romania would have done the same with the oil. I believe that if Antonescu wasn't around, and there was someone else obviously, I believe that they would have struck a deal with Hitler saying, respect your neutrality and you'll get our oil and grain. And I think that would have been enough for Hitler, because the Romanian state actually threatened to destroy the oil fields completely. Obviously, that would delay the Operation Barbarossa. Like I said earlier in the video, oil is a major factor in powering the war machine. And had the Romanians chosen to completely eradicate the oil fields, when I think about it, Hitler was blockaded from the Middle East or any other oil fields. The oil fields of Baku were out of reach. Obviously, there's no oil from the US, obviously, because there was a British blockade. And obviously, Roosevelt, by late 1940, was always doing the Lend-Lease Act. So it was always supplying Britain with war materials already. So that was the question for Hitler. So Hitler's only real oil was synthetic oil, or the oil from Romania. And of course, there's the war crimes of the Romanian state from 1940 to 1944. Under young Antonescu, he was a major player and responsible for the mass murder of Jews and Gypsies in the Romanian state, in Transnistria. Young Antonescu is revered, sadly, in Romania today as a hero, as a nationalist, as a patriot. But he was just a mindless war criminal who sent many Jews to death, and also he also sent many thousands of soldiers to death as well inside Russia in a campaign which cost Romania dearly and was a total waste of men, money, and lives as well. I think Romania would not have actually avoided becoming a communist. Romania would still have become a communist country. But I think if you fast forward today, the Romanians will be able to hold their head up high and say, yeah, we were one of the major allies in the Second World War, and we actually were one of the founding members of the United Nations. And obviously, yes, the Romanian state will become a communist country. At the same time, there's no avoiding it. And if you look at the bigger picture of the Western Allies versus Stalin, obviously Stalin planned to use Eastern Europe as a buffer. As early as the mid-1930s, he was already thinking about how he could grab some Eastern European territory to defend against Western attack from the Soviet Union. So, Romania and Second World War, it is an uncomfortable topic. And it is because, obviously, Romania was siding with Nazi Germany, because they had a pro-Nazi dictator, young Antonescu, and he threw all his weight against the Germans, right until August 1944, and the situation was very dire for the Romanian state. And the Soviets were knocking on the door of the border, and even then, Antonescu was saying, oh, I can't depart from my major friend ally Hitler, it'll be treason. So Kim Michael had him arrested, and he was obviously imprisoned, and he was later tried and executed for war crimes, quite rightly so, obviously. And but obviously even this can save Romania. But the Kim Michael's coup, as you know, did shorten the war by 6 months. So I think so obviously we can't obviously change the past, but obviously we can look at how things might have become. Romania would have been looked at more of a respected way. Obviously, maybe historians research why Romania was treated so harshly after the Second World War. Well, like I said earlier in this video, from the Russian point of view, Romania provided second biggest amount of men, materials and supplies to Hitler's war machine against the Soviet Union, which lost 70 million military and civilian casualties. It was a staggering amount of loss to a nation. 70 million. That's the military and civilian total of how much the Soviet Union lost in the Second World War. A huge amount. And obviously, yeah, it's not defending Stalin whatsoever. Stalin was a mass murderer, a war criminal himself. I mean, I'll never forget the Kharkiv massacre, where he massacred the Polish officers and soldiers after the Carter of Poland, because obviously he was thinking in the future, and he wanted Poland to be a loyal, communist buffer country. Stalin is exactly what he was doing when he carved up Poland with Hitler. And obviously he was actually, and Stalin wanted a buffer zone and was determined to have friendly nations. So even when he was driving Hitler westwards from mid-1942, he was determined to have friendly communist states in Eastern Europe. And obviously he didn't know this was the outer agreements at all. He obviously Stalin was like, I'll give him like some democracy. But like I said, I'm not explaining Stalin. Obviously we know what Stalin did. The gulags, the Ukrainian famine, etc., killing millions of people. But I think with regards to Romania, have remained staying neutral from August 1944, then joining the Allies, and then like a gig obviously originally, but staying neutral from 1940 to 1944. Obviously the Soviets treated Romania less harshly. Obviously there was no avoiding a communist government, because that's what Stalin wanted. Obviously Stalin wanted friendly communist states on its borders as a buffer zone against the NATO, led by the US. But I don't think there would have been, well, obviously there wouldn't have been the soft ones. There would have been the capture of most of the Romanian Navy, which obviously went to the Soviets. There wouldn't have been the plundering of Romanian resources. So I think obviously Romania will be regained, as originally getting northern Transylvania, would have possibly kept southern Dobruja, because that was taken by the Bulgarians with Hitler's backing in 1940. So, like I say, obviously the Soviets wouldn't give back. No way was Stalin to give back the Czechoslovakia and all Bukovina. But at least Romania would have held its head high, much higher in 1945. Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's just my evaluation from being in the Second World War. And it's interesting. And obviously, war is not glorious at all. And obviously, a nation like Romania has to actually look at the facts of what it did, etc. And obviously, it was a horrific mistake for the Romanian state to actually got mixed up with Hitler. But you have to think about the leader, Young Antonescu, who was solely responsible for the Romanian state in 1945. He deserved to be executed for what he did to the Romanian state during the Second World War. The thousands that were killed under his watch, and thousands of troops he sent to the Stalingrad. Because when the major victory of Stalingrad was obviously caused by the smashing of the Romanian army, who held the north and south bank of the left-hand side of Stalingrad, because Romanians were very ill-equipped. They had no heavy armour, no heavy artillery, and obviously the Soviets obviously knew this, and obviously smashed through the Romanian lines, and obviously, yeah, what happened there. But there's no way the Romanians should have been there in the first place. Let us know what you think. And there's many Romanians on here who will be defending Antonescu's so-called honour. It's disgusting. It's disgraceful, man.